Hotel staff failed to understand the guest. The black maid spoke 6 languages. Can somebody help this man? The manager's shout cut through the lobby of the Regal Crown Hotel like glass breaking. A tall, older gentleman stood at the front desk, speaking rapidly in a language none of them recognized. Guests stared. Staff exchanged nervous looks. The translator hadn't shown up, and every minute of confusion was making the 5-star hotel look worse. Behind the marble counter, the receptionist whispered, "I think he's angry." The concierge guessed, "Maybe Italian." Someone pulled out a phone and started using a translation app that only made the guest angrier. He slammed his hand on the desk and shouted again, foreign, frustrated, desperate. In the corner, quietly polishing the brass railing, Maya Jefferson, a middle-aged black maid in a crisp housekeeping uniform, watched the chaos unfold. She'd worked here for years, mopping floors, changing sheets, listening to 100 languages float through the halls, and right now, she recognized this one. It wasn't Italian. It was Russian. Maya hesitated, clutching her cleaning cloth. She'd promised herself she'd never step out of line again after being laughed at last time she tried to help a guest. But as the man's voice cracked with frustration, something inside her stirred. She set down the rag, straightened her shoulders, and quietly stepped forward. "Excuse me, sir," she said softly in perfect Russian. "Do you need help?" The lobby froze. The man turned, startled, his eyes wide. He answered quickly, and Maya responded fluently, her tone calm, respectful. Within seconds, the man's anger melted into relief. He smiled, gesturing gratefully. The manager blinked. "What did you just say to him?" Maya turned, switching effortlessly to English. "I told him his wife's luggage was sent to the wrong hotel and that it's being delivered in 20 minutes. The entire staff gaped. The manager stammered, You speak Russian." Maya wiped her hands on her apron. "Yes, sir, and 5 other languages." Gasps. The Russian guest shook her hand warmly, repeating, "Spasibo, spasibo, thank you," for the first time in years. All eyes in the lobby were on her, not with pity, but with shock and respect. But in the crowd, someone else was watching to a suited man in the corner, holding a folder with a government seal. He whispered into his phone, "Found her. She's still alive." By the next morning, everyone in the Regal Crown Hotel knew what had happened in the lobby. Housekeepers whispered as they passed Maya in the hallway. The front desk clerk smiled at her differently now, half respect, half curiosity. But when she entered the staff lounge, the air went quiet. "Morning," Maya said, her voice even. No one answered. The head maid, a strict woman named Gloria, crossed her arms. "You sure made a show yesterday," she said. "The general manager's been talking about it all morning." Maya kept her tone gentle. "I only helped a guest, ma'am," Gloria scoffed. "You went over your duties. That's what you did. Don't forget your staff, not management." Before Maya could reply, the door opened and Mr. Collins, the hotel manager, stepped in. "Miss Jefferson," he said curtly, "my office, now." The room went silent. Maya followed him down the hall, her shoes squeaking softly on the marble. Inside the office, he shut the door and leaned on his desk. "Where did you learn Russian?" She folded her hands. "I studied a long time ago." "Sir, that's not an answer," he said sharply. "A Russian guest personally requested you as his interpreter for the rest of his stay. You embarrassed my staff, you broke chain of command, and now you've complicated things." "I'm sorry," Maya said quietly. "I didn't mean to." Collins sighed, rubbing his temples. "Look, I should fire you for insubordination, but that man, he's one of our biggest clients. He wants you. So, congratulations. You'll be his personal aide until he leaves." Maya nodded, hiding the flicker of fear behind her calm face. "Yes, sir." When she left the office, the man in the suit was waiting in the hallway, the same one who had been watching yesterday. He stepped forward, smiling faintly. "Excuse me, Miss Jefferson." Maya froze. "Do I know you?" "Not yet," he said, "but I know you. Or, at least, who you used to be." Her breath caught. "You're mistaken." He held up the folder, opening it just enough for her to see an old black and white photo of her face. Younger, in uniform, The title read, U.S. State Department, Linguistic Analysis Division. Maya's stomach turned to ice. The man smiled. Welcome back, Agent Jefferson. Maya's heart thudded like a drum inside her chest. The hallway suddenly felt smaller, the air heavier. I don't know what you're talking about, she whispered. The man smiled, calm, patient, like someone who'd waited years for this moment. You can lie to your boss, Miss Jefferson, but not to me. He flipped the folder open again, sliding it toward her. There it was, her old photo, her signature, and a medal for exceptional linguistic service. She remembered the day they'd taken that photo, the same day everything had gone wrong. I'm not that person anymore, she said. Stepping back, you don't have a choice. He replied softly. The people you used to work for need you again. She gave a bitter laugh. They don't even remember my name. They left me to clean hotel rooms. He looked at her, unblinking. They didn't forget. They just thought you were dead. Maya's throat went dry. Dead. He nodded. When your convoy was attacked in Istanbul, you were marked as killed in action. Someone must have helped you disappear. The agency honored your service quietly, but now, something's happening. Something big. I don't want any part of it, Maya said sharply. I've built a life here. The man lowered his voice. A Russian diplomat checked into this hotel yesterday. He's here under a false identity. He's carrying documents that could reignite the conflict your translation once helped prevent. And now you're the only person who can understand him. Her head spun. You're saying this is connected to me. It's more connected to you than you realize. For a moment, Maya stared past him, back at the shining lobby where she'd mopped floors for years, pretending to be invisible. All this time, she'd hidden her brilliance, her gift, because the world had punished her for it once. And now that world was knocking again. She straightened, meeting his eyes. I'm not going back to that life. He smirked. Then you'd better hope your Russian friend doesn't expose who you really are first. Her stomach dropped. What do you mean? He stepped closer, voice low. Because I think he already knows. Outside the window, the Russian guest climbed into a black car, and as he looked up, his gaze met Maya's. He smiled. It wasn't friendly. Maya froze at the window, her breath catching in her throat. That smile, cold, knowing, hit her like a bullet. The Russian guest car pulled away from the curb, but his eyes lingered until the very last second. She whispered to herself, he knows. Her hands trembled as she hurried back to the staff hall, trying to look normal, nodding politely at other maids as she passed. Inside the linen room, she locked the door and pressed her forehead against the metal shelf. How could he recognize me? It had been 12 years since Istanbul, 12 years since she decoded the wrong message and watched a city burn for it. She'd changed her name, buried her accent, started over. But ghosts don't forget. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. A text appeared. Nice to see you again, Miss Jefferson. Or should I say, Agent Maya Carter. Her stomach dropped. She typed back quickly, who is this? But no reply came. A knock startled her. Miss Jefferson. It was the manager, Mr. Collins. The Russian guest requested you in his suite. Immediately, Maya's blood ran cold. She stared at the door, frozen, coming. She finally said, forcing her voice steady. Moments later, she stood outside Suite 901, her heart pounding so loud it drowned out her thoughts. She knocked softly. The door opened. The Russian guest, the same man from the lobby, stood there smiling politely. Ah, my favorite translator, he said in accented English. Please, come in. Maya stepped inside. The suite was luxurious, quiet, too quiet. On the table sat a folder sealed with red wax, a briefcase, and glasses of untouched wine. I wanted to thank you for yesterday, he said, motioning to the seat across from him. You have a gift. 6 languages. Yes. Her throat tightened. Something like that. He leaned forward, eyes sharp. You worked for the Americans once, didn't you? Istanbul, the codes. I was there. Every nerve in her body went still. You're mistaken, she said calmly. He chuckled softly. No, I remember the woman who spoke truth like a weapon. Maya's mind raced. If he knows who I am, he knows what I know. Then his tone changed. I need your help again. You will translate one document for me tonight. No questions. Or your little secret becomes front-page news. Maya met his gaze, her fear hardening into quiet defiance. Then I guess I'll have to make sure no one believes you. But even as she said it, she knew this man could destroy her life with one phone call, and he wasn't bluffing. The moment the Russian guest left for his dinner meeting, Maya sank into the velvet chair by the desk. The sealed folder sat in front of her like a live grenade. Her fingers hovered over it. Every part of her wanted to walk away, to grab her mop, go back to being invisible. But the old part of her, the one that used to decode whispers between nations, couldn't resist. She broke the wax seal. Inside were 10 typed pages, Cyrillic letters marching across each sheet. Her heart began to race as she translated silently. Halfway through the first page, she froze. These weren't business documents, they were orders. Encrypted diplomatic instructions to trade weapons technology between two countries that weren't supposed to have contact at all. It was a deal that, if exposed, could start a war. Maya pressed her hand over her mouth. Oh God, she whispered. A sound made her jump. Footsteps in the hallway. She shoved the papers back into the folder, locking it in the drawer. Just as the door opened, it was Mr. Collins, the hotel manager, looking nervous. Everything all right, Miss Jefferson? She forced a smile. Just finishing up. Sir, good, he said stiffly. Our guest requested privacy tonight. Don't stay too long. When he left, Maya exhaled shakily. The phone on the desk buzzed. A message appeared from the same unknown number as before. Translated. Delivered to me at midnight. Rooftop. Come alone. Her hands shook. She knew what this was now. A trap. If she gave them the translation, she'd be helping criminals. If she refused, they'd expose her, and she'd lose the life she'd built. She stared at her reflection in the mirror. The maid's uniform, the tired eyes, the woman who'd been told she was nothing. Beneath that, she saw the agent who once risked her life for truth. Tears burned her eyes. I'm not cleaning up other people's messes anymore, she whispered. She grabbed her phone and dialed the only number she'd saved years ago, one she hoped never to use again. When the line picked up, a familiar voice said, You shouldn't be calling this line. It's me, Maya said. Agent Jefferson. Silence. Then a slow, stunned reply, We thought you were dead. I almost was, she said. But you're about to need me again, because tonight. She wasn't a maid anymore. She was back in the fight. By the time midnight rolled around, the city was wrapped in fog. The Regal Crown's rooftop lights glowed faintly through the mist, making the air shimmer like ghosts were floating above it. Maya stood there alone, her maid's uniform hidden beneath a black coat. In her hands was a copy of the Russian document, just enough to keep them talking. Her phone buzzed once, a message from the unknown number. Come to the edge. No tricks. She glanced around. The rooftop was empty to empty. No guards. No voices. Just the hum of the city below. Then a soft sound behind her, a footstep. She turned slowly. The Russian guest stood there, his smile as smooth as glass. You came, he said. I came to end this, she replied, holding up the folder. You think you can blackmail me into treason? You don't know who I am, he chuckled. Oh, I do. Agent Maya Jefferson, top linguist, code breaker, disappeared after Istanbul. You were supposed to be dead. Her heart pounded. Maybe I should have stayed that way. He took a step closer. Give me the translation, and I'll let you keep your quiet little life. Refuse, and I'll make sure every government, from Moscow to Washington, knows exactly where you are. Maya's mind raced. Somewhere below, in the parking garage, a van idled. The agency had promised backup if they got her signal. She just needed to buy them 60 seconds. She tilted her head. You think you can threaten me with exposure? I cleaned hotel bathrooms for 12 years. I've already been invisible. The Russian frowned. You're bluffing. Maya's voice sharpened. Try me. She took a small device from her pocket and pressed it once. A faint click echoed. Within seconds, the rooftop lights flickered. Red laser dots appeared on the man's chest. He froze. What did you do? Maya didn't move. You wanted the world to know who I was, she said. Now it does. Helicopter blades thundered overhead. A spotlight cut through the fog as armed agents swarmed the rooftop. Federal security. Drop your weapon. The Russian snarled, reaching inside his coat. A shot rang out. Maya ducked as chaos erupted, shouting, "Smoke! Gunfire!" When the air cleared, the man lay cuffed on the ground, bleeding but alive. An agent grabbed her arm. "Ma'am, are you okay?" Maya nodded, her voice shaking. "I'm fine. But this isn't over." Because deep down, she knew the documents weren't fake. They were real, and someone powerful still wanted them hidden. The morning after the rooftop chaos, the Regal Crown looked calm again, but Maya knew that calm was fake, like perfume over smoke. She walked the corridor with her cleaning cart, eyes sharp. Every camera blinked red. Every guard seemed just a little too alert. The agency had taken the Russian away, but the documents he'd carried were missing. Someone inside the hotel had taken them before the raid. She headed to the security office, pretending to drop off towels. The monitors showed last night's footage, agents swarming the roof, the Russian arrested, and then, just before dawn, Mr. Collins, the hotel manager, walking out of the restricted evidence room with a briefcase. Her breath caught. "Not you," she whispered. A voice behind her said, "Looking for something, Miss Jefferson." She turned. Collins stood in the doorway, smiling, that same polite smile he'd worn when firing staff for being late. "You shouldn't be here." Maya forced a shaky laugh. "Just cleaning." "Sir," he stepped closer, "you think the government can protect you? You think you're a hero again? You were useful once. Now you're leverage." Her stomach dropped. "You're working with them." "I'm working for whoever pays to keep this place standing," he said. "Those documents are worth more than your life. Or mine." She kept her tone calm. "You won't get out of here with them." He raised an eyebrow. "Who's going to stop me, a maid?" That was when she smiled faintly. "No, sir, an agent." In one motion, she yanked a small flash drive from her pocket and slammed it into the nearest computer. Alarms blared. All the camera feeds lit up, projecting live footage straight to the agency's network. Collins lunged forward, but Maya blocked him with the cleaning cart, sending it crashing into his legs. Security guards burst in seconds later, real ones this time. Hands where we can see them. Collins froze, caught between the alarms and her glare. As they cuffed him, she whispered, "You should have kept your hands clean." He spat. "You think this ends with me?" Maya straightened her uniform, breathing hard. "No," she said softly. "It ends with the truth." Downstairs, agents poured into the lobby. Above them all, the hotel's crystal chandelier reflected her face, tired, scarred, but finally unafraid. By the next morning, the entire hotel had turned into a command post. News vans lined the street outside. Reporters shouted questions as agents in suits escorted the Russian guest and Mr. Collins away in handcuffs. Guests peered from their balconies, whispering, filming, spreading rumors. But in the middle of all that noise, Maya Jefferson stood quietly near the service elevator, still in her maid's uniform, still clutching her cleaning gloves like a shield. An agent approached her, the same one who'd found her in the hallway days before. "You did good work," he said softly. "Those files you exposed, they'll stop an international disaster." She shook her head. "I didn't do it for medals." He smiled faintly. "Maybe not, but the world should know what you did." That afternoon, the agency held a press briefing. The director stood before flashing cameras. An anonymous hotel employee helped uncover a network of illegal arms deals this week. Her actions prevented what could have been catastrophic. He looked directly at Maya in the crowd. "Her courage reminds us that heroes don't always wear uniforms, they sometimes carry mops." The applause was quiet at first, then thunderous. Maya blinked through tears she didn't mean to show. For the first time in years, she didn't hide. Later, when the cameras were gone, she walked through the now empty lobby. The marble floors she used to polish reflected her faint smile. Colonel Briggs, from her old days, older now, silver hair, tired eyes, stepped out from the crowd. "You still have it, Jefferson," he said warmly. "I never lost it." She replied softly, "I just stopped using it." He nodded. "You saved lives again. The government wants to reinstate your clearance." Maya looked around the lobby, the place she'd scrubbed, swept, survived. She thought of the women who'd whispered behind her, the guests who'd looked through her. She smiled. No, sir, I'm done chasing codes. I think I'll start teaching them instead. He grinned. Teaching. She nodded. Languages. The world needs more people who listen before they speak. Outside, the city lights glowed, warm and alive. Maya took a deep breath and stepped out into the sunlight, no longer hiding who she was. Not a maid, not a spy, but a woman who finally understood that words, when used with courage, could change the world. Moral: titles fade, but truth doesn't. Real power isn't in speaking many languages, it's in knowing when one voice can make the whole world listen.